Hello everyone, and welcome to a completely random video for this channel. I've done a lot of very labor-intensive making of style videos recently, and I thought I had earned myself a simple, random, off-topic video. I decided I was going to make that video all about my nail polish collection. I know it's also a really awful time for the world, and nail polish is one of those things that makes me smile, as little as it is, so I thought this might make you smile for a few minutes as well. So this is probably going to be very long and chatty. I have my window open, so you'll be able to hear birds in the background, and it's just kind of a video that I'm making for my own pleasure because I thought this would be fun, and I hope some of you enjoy it as well. Now this is just like half of my collection right here, though these are some of my favorites. Before I actually talk you through each nail polish, I just want to do a general frequently asked question thing about my nails, because 90% of my videos are just of my hands, and my hands generally have painted nails, so I do get quite a lot of questions about them. Question number one I get most often is, are my nails real? Yes, they are. I've never had acrylic nails or even a gel manicure before. The next question is, who paints them? And the answer to that is me. I paint them probably twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, depending on how much I'm doing with my hands and how prone that specific polish is to chipping. I also get questions about how I keep my nails so long. I don't know. The answer is that they tear and they break pretty frequently, but they only break or tear 2 at a time. So generally my fingernails look okay in general because the majority of them are long, but they do break and tear on a frequent basis. And when I say tear, I mean that because my nails aren't particularly stiff or thick, so when they bang against something, they aren't prone to breaking off. More what I struggle with is them being so thin that they flatten out and then they'll tear, and I'll end up losing length that way. And that's why I keep them filed in this almond shape, where the widest part is at the nail bed, and then they taper off pretty dramatically from that point. And I find this shape just gives my nails more structural integrity, and they're less prone to breaking that way. Sometimes people ask if they get in the way of sewing, and no. I think if they were acrylic they might, or if they were significantly longer, but they basically just serve as an extension of my fingertips, and I've never really had any issues with the length of them. This is what I use on my nails to maintain them. I don't actually cut them with nail clippers, I cut them with scissors because then I find it's much easier to maintain the rounded shape, even if I'm cutting quite a bit of length off of them. And then for filing, I always use glass nail files. You can just find these on Amazon. They have a much finer grit than traditional sandpaper-esque nail files, so I find that they're a lot gentler on my nails, but you can also remove length pretty quickly with them. Though the brand of polish I use changes very frequently, the base coat and the top coat are always the same. I use Sèche Vite or Sèche V as a top coat, and this is just the normal dry fast one. And then for a long time I used nothing but SE Grow Stronger as my base coat, but I think this has actually been discontinued, though I did manage to find some on Amazon. So more recently I've been using Strong Start, which I think is the equivalent in their new lineup. So I think that is it, and now I'm going to start talking about my collection. I primarily use indie nail polishes. You're not going to see a lot of OPI or Essie in this video, or Revlon, or any polishes that you can go to Ulta or the grocery store and purchase. I really like indie nail polishes, so polishes ordered from small online-only companies, because they just tend to be a lot more fun. They use a lot of different sizes of glitter in them, mixtures of glitters. They'll sometimes have a duochrome base with glitter in it. Can you get the idea that I really like glitter? I just find that they tend to be a lot more unique and a lot more sparkly, and that's what I love in nail polish. So this first little box here, I guess, is what I will start with. And these are all from the brand Pop Polish, and then I just have an extra top coat and an extra base coat kind of dividing them. The ones in the middle are the ones that I use least often, and then these 2 rows are the newest additions and also my favorites from the company. So I'll just go through these really quickly. This is Osiris, and it's like a duochrome, multi-chrome glitter. You can use this on its own, but you will need 2 or 3 coats. This one's called King Tut, and I've never actually used this one before. It's like a dark blue with silver and gold chunky glitters in it. This one is called Marie Antoinette, and this one's fine. I don't reach for it very often. It looked more exciting in the photos. This one is Copper Painted Skies, and I actually have a very similar color to this from a different brand. That's one of the downsides of ordering nail polish online. Sometimes you end up with really similar colors because they look slightly different in person. So I haven't gotten too much use out of this, but it's like a creamy base with some multi-chrome glitters in it. And then this one I'm embarrassed to say I've never actually used before. It's called Foliage. It's like a pretty sagey green color with these golden green glitters in it. I think this one's temperature sensitive. Now these ones are all of their Slick collection, I think that's what it's called, and they're duochromes and multi-chromes. So they have a base color and then they shift really prominently to a different color, or sometimes multiple different colors. I don't know how well this is going to be captured on camera, which is unfortunate because in person they're phenomenal. So this one is called Yellow Brick Slick. And it's like a greenish yellow, and then it shifts to almost a whitish pink. And it has a dark green shift to it in person as well. This one is Lickety Slick, and I find that this one actually has the best formula. It's like a greenish colored base, but then it shifts to yellow and pink. The other ones I find take a really, really long time to dry, so I generally just use one coat over a similarly colored base coat. Then I get that really cool duochrome effect without the annoyingly long drying time, but I don't have any of those issues with this polish. And this one is Truly Madly Slick, and it's like a violet color, and then it shifts to gold. This one is Tickle Me Slick, and it's like an orange that shifts to pink and red and gold. This one is Drop Slick Gorgeous, and this one is like a purple that shifts to teal, though it's showing up more teal on camera. But if you have to buy one type of polish from this collection, I'd recommend these, whereas these are from their Slick collection, so they're like a really fine glitter that creates that overall duochrome effect. These ones are a much chunkier glitter that create an even more dramatic effect. So I have one on my nails right now, and I love these so much. However, they do not dry. I cannot use these on my nails alone, because if I put 2 coats on, it'll be a day later and they will still be gooey, no matter how thinly I've applied the coats and how long I've waited between them. So I use one coat of these on top of a similarly colored base coat, and they dry like a normal polish, and you get that really cool kind of glitter multi-chrome effect. So I'd recommend these, but they just are a little bit finicky to work with. So this first one is called the Ruby of Seraphine, and it is like a greenish gold kind of base, but then has a really strong pink shift to it. This one is called the Shimmering Seas. I think these were from Mermaid Collection. And this one is like a purple, but with silver flecks in it. This one is called Dazzling Doubloons, and this is what I have on my nails right now. So it is like a green color, and then it shifts strongly to blue. This one's called Vision in Verdant. I probably butchered the pronunciation of this. This one's actually a chunky like purple glitter with really fine silver glitters in it. And this one's called Jeweled Peacock, and it's a pink with kind of brownish and gold duochrome flecks in it. And these are probably my favorite nail polishes in my collection right now. I've been wearing them nonstop recently. I do really, really like how they perform over a similarly colored base coat. You just get a really cool glittery duochrome effect out of them, but on their own, they really do have some issues. And then over here, these are all polishes from a brand called Schiele, and I will link their Instagram and their Etsy down below. I'll link Pop Polish down below too, which are all the previous nail polishes I showed you. Schiele is a new brand that I discovered, and they're kind of a problematic brand. Not because of any scandals that I know of, but because they release new colors on Friday, every Friday, and it makes me want to order nail polish every single week, which is kind of a problem for my bank account. But I really like their formula, and I really like the color combinations they come up with. The only downside I can say about their company is that they tend to come out with a lot of really similar colors, and they tend to look a lot more dramatic in photos. So this is one brand where I've ended up purchasing really similar products, or where I've been kind of disappointed with some of the ones in person, but they do perform really well, and they do come out with some really unique colors. However, it's worth noting that their colors are limited edition, so unlike the Pop Polish ones where you can go to their website and purchase all of these ones they release in like batches of 30 or 50, and once those are sold out, it might be weeks or months or years before they re-release it. So that's just something to keep in mind, that the colors I show you, you might not be able to get. So on that note, this first one is called May Queen. This is one of the newest ones I purchased, and it's like a green with gold and red flecks in it, and I've worn this a lot. I think it's really, really beautiful. This one is called Soul Glitch, and I think of this being like a hydrangea color. It's like a deep periwinkle, and then it's got gold and blue glitters in it, and these are really subtle glitters, so they don't look that impressive on the nails. This one that definitely looked more dramatic in photos, but it does perform really well, and I do like using this underneath some of these other ones I just showed you. This one's called Tumbling Lights. It's an aqua blue with lime green glitters and pink glitters in it. This is probably my least favorite one from them in terms of formula. It's called Bloodbath. It's a weird sort of orangey-ish red that does kind of resemble blood, and then it has really thick silver glitters in it, and just doesn't perform as well as any of the others. So I'm not sure how long this one's going to stay in my collection. This is another one I was sort of disappointed with, and it's called See You Bleed, and it's kind of a cool color because it's almost black, but it's got these really reflective, prominent red glitters in it. So you're wearing it, and it just sort of looks like a black nail polish until it hits the sunlight, and then all of these red glitters light up. So sort of a neat polish, but I did find that this looked quite dull on the nails, and it chipped pretty quickly. This one I love. I had this on my nails earlier in the week with one of those Pop Polish toppers on top of it, and this one is called Coming Up Roses. It was a Valentine's Valentine's Day release. It's a really pretty, almost purplish pink, and then it's got these fine green glitters in it. This one is called Zombie Glam, and it's a really pretty kind of pear color with all these micro glitters in it that are a slightly lighter and different shade of green. These two look very, very similar. This is what I'm talking about with this company, but this first one is called Memorism, and it's a chartreuse sort of color with these gold and pink glitters in it. And then this one is for Halloween, it's called Strains, and it's slightly more of like neon green, and then it has very similar colors of glitter in it. So they are different, just not like super different. And I also have this on my nails just with that glittery top coat on it. This is a very subtle color for me, but it's actually quite pretty. It's called Feels, and it's a peach color with gold glitter. I bought this as one of their random polishes, and I wouldn't buy one of their random polishes again just because this isn't very exciting. It's like a purple with some silver glitter in it. This is back where we get into colors looking quite similar in person compared to how they did online. This one's called Moon Dew, and this one is called Unicorn Abduction. They're both really pretty. They're kind of a pale purplish base with all of these duochrome glitters in them. So I do like these, but I definitely didn't need both of these in my collection. This one is called Sparkle Motion, and it's like the superior version of Unicorn Abduction. They're basically the same color, except this one has much more prominent sparkles in it and a similar duochrome effect. And this lasts on the nails really, really nicely. I like how it's kind of a neutral color, but it's also super sparkly and wonderful. This is definitely one that looked better in photos. It's called Wrong Turn, and it's just kind of a mauve tone with some blue reflect in it. This one is called Curacao and Curacao. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that, but this is a blue, and then has purple and pink and gold sparkles in it. And this is one of the newest additions to my collection. It's one of my favorites as well. This one I think is based on something from Harry Potter, and it's called Bua Batons. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that as well, but it is a bluish base, and then it's got really prominent gold and pink sparkles in it. This is another one that looked much prettier in photos. It doesn't translate well on the nails. It just sort of looks like a purple, but it does have a orangey duochrome to it. This one I wore for most of October. It's called Pumpkin Guts, and it's got really kind of flaky and nice sparkles in it, and then a very vibrant orange base. So that's my Schiele polish collection. I do really like their formulas. I just wish the photos were more true to life to how they would actually end up looking, because some of them are absolutely fabulous in person like these, whereas others just don't translate nearly as well. And here I have some of my favorites, and then we'll get into the big box of nail polish. Yes, there's more. This is not all of it. This is only like half of it. So in here, I just have polishes I reach for pretty often. So I have my top coat, and I have my base coats. And then I have some Enchanted Polish colors here, and these are their duochromes and multichromes. And this was the first time I'd seen a company do it and them do it so well, and I purchased the entire collection of these. I don't regret doing that, but I do have some issues with these polishes. They're absolutely beautiful. This one specifically is called Ciao Milano, and it looks almost purple, but then it has this really strong green shift to it. But much like these ones from Pop Polish, they do not perform well on their own. In fact, they perform even worse. They're so liquidy, these sparkles are so few and far between, that if you want to use this as a standalone polish, you need between 4 and 5 coats. And if you're using it over top of something else, you need at least 3 coats, but they have to be very, very thin, because otherwise it will not dry. Like, it doesn't matter if you do the coats 15 minutes apart, it just won't dry on my nails. So I love these, but they are finicky to work with, and the sparkle particles in them, though they do have a really strong duochrome effect, they're not as large as the glitter in the Pop Polish, so they don't tend to look as dramatic on the nails as they do in the bottles. But they're still really pretty, and I want to use them more because I do have a lot of them, but the formula is just really disappointing compared to how they look in person. This is from the same collection. It's also an Enchanted Polish. In person, it definitely looks like a bronze or gold, but then has a really strong red reflect. And this one is called Ula Rio. This one's called Bonjour Paris, and it actually looks very similar to this one in person, but the shift to them is totally different. This one is a purple that shifts to gold, whereas this one's like a purple that shifts to green. So they look pretty similar on the nails, but on camera they definitely look super different. This is a Polished for Days polish. I really like their formula. It tends to be really opaque and it lasts well on my nails, and this color is called Unicorn. It's a pinkish, purplish, goldish, champagne-ish color, and then it's got flaky duochrome glitters in it, which I love. I always get compliments when I have this on my nails. This is kind of one of the polishes that really introduced me to indie brand nail polishes and made me fall in love with them. It is called Mr. Mint, and it is by Cupcake Polish. I have the entire collection of these polishes, and they're some of the oldest polishes in my stash, and this one I just recently repurchased because I love it so much. It's a super bright pink, and then it has all of these holographic silver glitters in it, and this lasts so well on my nails, and it's so bright and colorful and cheery, and it just makes me smile. This is an Emily D. Molly polish, and this is called Sea of Lies, and this might be tied with the Cupcake Polish Mr. Mint as my favorite nail polish in my collection because the duochrome multichrome effect on this is so strong and it performs so well. It's a very thin polish, but it's also very sparkly, and you really only need 1 or 2 layers of it for it to be completely opaque. It has a blue base to it, but a really strong pink and lime green shift, and this is one of those polishes where you put it on your nails and it looks like a completely different color on every nail because the shift and the reflect of it is just so strong. So it's a really cool polish, and I hope they come out with more like this because I will definitely buy them. So this is the rest of my nail polish collection. This is kind of organized by brand, but these are ones that I have fewer of, or like the formula of less, or just reach for less often. So they're on the bottom tier, and then I stack the other organizers I just showed you on top of these. So it's all kind of compact, even though there's a lot of nail polish here. So just as a rough once over, these are Live Love Polish brand, these are Cupcake Polish, these are Enchanted Polish, these are Cirque, these are Emily D. Molly, these are Polished for Days, these are A. England, these are all Starly, these are Miss Sura, this is a top coat, these are Revlon, these are Miss Sparkle, this is a random one, and then these are ILNP, I think that's what it's called, and it's a Live Love Polish brand as well. So these guys are all Cupcake Polish. I probably have more of them than any of the other brands in here. They were, as I said, my first love, starting with that bright pink Mr. Mint color, and then I ended up purchasing, when they had a sale, all the other colors in the collection. And these don't perform as well as the pink Mr. Mint one, but they do perform pretty well. The red one is probably my least favorite, both in performance and just color in general, and it is called Lord Licorice. This one is called Jolly, and you can see how much I've used of these. They're down to like there. I really gotten my wear money out of these ones. This one's called Plumpy, and it's probably my second favorite from the collection. It's just such a great green, and I love how sparkly these are, but they're relatively fine sparkles, so they don't feel chunky on the nails, and they don't feel really thick on the nails. I'm someone whose nail polish is really prone to chipping if it's too thick, so I really like that I can get such a dense, sparkly look from these without having to deal with that. And then I peeled the name off of this one, so I can't tell you what it is called, but it's a really pretty blue, and then it has silver sparkles in it. These guys are from a different Cupcake Polish collection, but they're all from the same collection, and I think it was a specific bridal collection. And these are kind of a thicker cream base, and then they've got micro glitters in them, and they've got slightly larger glitters in them. This one is definitely my favorite out of the bunch. It's called Happily Ever After, and it's a really pretty kind of subtle glitter polish, if that makes sense, and it just looks beautiful on the nails. And this one is called Future Misses, and it's kind of separated, but if I shake it, it'll be fine. And then this one is really unique. It's like an aqua blue minty color, and it's got really strong sparkles in it. And this one is called Always and Forever. These are from another collection, and this is like glitter tier 1. This is glitter tier 2, and this is glitter tier 3. These are so sparkly, and the glitter in them is so large. They just look really dramatic and awesome on the nails, but they can also look a little chunky on the nails. So I prefer this level of glitter overall, but I do still really enjoy these. This first one is called Sweet as 6, and it's a dark purple, and then it's got pink and blue glitter in it. This one is called Half-Life, and it is a blue, and then it's got matching blue flaky glitters in it, and it's so sparkly and wonderful on the nails. I love it. But this one is probably my favorite just because it has that duochrome shift to it, and it is called Atomic. It is a dark purple base with lime green and gold flaky glitters in it. Now, these guys are all Enchanted Polish, and I've already talked a little bit about my issues with them. I will not be purchasing more of their polishes unless they come out with something that is so fantastic and wonderful that I can't ignore it, and I'm willing to put up with the difficulty of working with it. But as it is now, they're really probably least favorite brands I've worked with. And by worked with, I mean purchased from. I don't have a relationship with any of these nail polish brands other than being a customer. This color is called Unicorn. I think this is actually the first polish I purchased from them, and this one performs better than all of the others, which might just be because of how awesome the name is. And this is like a green that shifts to gold and pink. This one is called Mermaid, and it's a green with lots of different colors of micro glitter in it, and a less prominent shift. And this one is called Fairy, and it looks almost like a gray, but it has a pink and green shift to it. This one is called Siren, and a lot of these ended up looking the same too, which is kind of disappointing. And it's kind of a greenish, grayish color with a pink shift. In person, this is the one that looks most different from the others. It's called Pegasus, and this is a greenish brown. All of these are kind of greenish, it's weird, with bright yellow shift. This is the one I regret purchasing the most because it has the same crappy formula, but it's just a less interesting color. It's a pretty color, it's just less interesting because it doesn't have that duochrome effect to it. So this has a base of blue with these pinkish colored glitters in it. And actually, I found 2 more Cupcake polishes in here. These are my least favorite polishes I have from them, but they're still quite pretty. This one is called Jolly Roger, and it was from a pirate collection they did. So it's like a greenish brown, but then has these flaky pink and green glitters in it. It's showing up very pink on camera, but in person it's much more of a greenish gray. And I was going to say this is part of their nuclear collection, but it's literally called Nuclear. And this isn't showing up as nicely on camera as it is in person. In person, it's like a dark green with like green glitters in it, and then sort of a pinkish shift to it. It's quite nice, it's just dark and the glitter is less prominent, so it doesn't look as spectacular on the nails. This is my only fun lacquer polish. I've had a few different polishes from them and they have all shipped incredibly quickly, like within hours type of quickly, so I will not be purchasing more polishes from them, but this one is really pretty. It's a dark purplish blue and then it has silver glitters in it and also has, I don't want to call them stringy glitters, but like different shapes of glitter in it that makes it quite pretty and quite interesting on the nails. However, out of all the nail polishes I own, this one goes on the most textured, so you need a very thick top coat when working with this. These are Cirque polishes, and this is another brand I'm not super impressed with. This is a bright neon green. It's showing up almost minty on camera because it cannot handle the levels of neon, but it is a super bright, wonderful green in person. It's just a bit streaky, so you do need quite a few coats of it. And in my mind, that's just not really acceptable when a bottle of nail polish is like $14. So I probably won't be buying more of their polishes either. And then this is a color changing one, so it's heat sensitive. So the tips of your nails where there isn't your body heat end up looking a different color than the bed of your nails. So it's a really cool effect. It just doesn't really show up with this one because it's such a pale color. So not really impressed by this one either. Oh, and the colors are called Cyber and Soul. This is an Emily D. Molly color called High Contrast. It is a medium toned purple with silver flaky glitters. This is Ornate Print. This is another one of my favorites. It's a dark gray, but it's got really strong reflective flaky glitters in it that look green and purple and pink. That's what I mean when I say that indie polishes are really unique. Like you just wouldn't find this sort of color combination in a store-bought polish. So I love this, and I really like the formula of this as well. I've been really impressed by all of my Emily D. Molly polishes, and they're relatively affordable too. And this one is kind of a mauve tone with similarly colored flaky glitters in it, and this one is called Magic Maker. These are my 2 surviving A. England polishes. At one point I had a lot more of their polishes, but I just ended up getting rid of them because they're not very exciting. They go on pretty opaque, you only need 2 coats, they last pretty well on the nails, but in all of their photos they look really sparkly and wonderful, but in person the glitters are so tiny that they just look like a cream color on your nails. And I'm the worst about peeling labels, so this one isn't labeled, but I know it was from their Tudor collection, and then this one is called Anne of Cleves. I have 4 Polished for Days polishes, and this one is called Phoenix, and it's a reddish purplish base with all of these duochrome, multi-chrome flaky glitters in it. I generally don't love how darker colors look on my nails, so this isn't one I reach for particularly often, but the formula of it is really nice. This one is called Fern, and it's a very pretty pale pink with these iridescent green glitters in it. I do really like this. I like how it applies. I just don't wear it super often because I find the color Unicorn from them is sort of similar, but just a little bit more spectacular. But it's still pretty and nice if you want like a glittery but subtle glittery nail polish. This for me is like natural polish. And then this one is called Pegasus, and it's a very pretty periwinkle with these blue and green iridescent flaky glitters. And this one is called Kelpie, and again, this is just kind of too dark for me to love how it looks on my nails, but it's a beautiful color. That's probably like my favorite out of all of the colors, just in terms of how pretty it is. It's a dark bluish teal base, and then it's got iridescent blue and green glitters in it. This is similar, but greatly inferior. I'm probably gonna get rid of this after filming this video. It's got very large glitters in it, and this is a KB shimmer polish, and it's called Shipwreck 2018. I've not had good luck with KB shimmer polishes. They just seem to flake really quickly on me, and their formulas are like weirdly liquidy, so you really have to use them with a base coat, but they still look sort of thin over top of base coat, so I would much prefer use something like this that's similar in terms of color, that has slightly smaller glitters in it, but is still really reflective and beautiful on the nails, and only takes 2 coats without any sort of base underneath it. This is a mascara polish, and I believe this is a Russian brand. It's very affordable. I purchased these through Hypnotic Polish, which is, I think, an English retailer that stocks nail polish brands from all over the world. And these are like $3 on there, so they're probably even cheaper in Russia, which is kind of astonishing to me because they're really amazing quality. They're very opaque in 2 coats, and I really like them. They seem to last well. This one's called Orange Fresh, and it is just a bright orange with some silvery glitter particles in it. I prefer Pumpkin Guts from Schiele polish because it has flaky glitters in it, but they're both really nice. And this one is called Amelia, and it is a teal with silver glitters. These are my favorite drugstore brand polishes, but I only have 2 of them. I used to have a lot more, but I ended up getting rid of them just because I prefer sparkly polishes. But I really like the formula of these Revlon polishes. It's very thin, but it's pretty opaque, and because it is so thin, I find it's not very prone to chipping on me the way that thicker polishes are. So I would take this over an Essie polish or an OPI polish any day. At one point, I probably owned 15 or 20 of these, and I really liked all of them. I just ended up getting rid of them because they were old and the colors weren't very exciting. So the only 2 colors I still have are Dreamer, which is also number 410. I mostly kept this because I really like how it looks underneath this Starly polish, which I'll talk more about in a minute. Then this other one is called Revlon Red, and it's number 680. And this one I bought about a year ago when I was an extra on Miss Maisel, because this was one of the approved colors you could paint your nails with. So I kind of have fond memories attached to that one. These guys are ILNP polishes, and this is from their Van Gogh collection. I think it's called Starry Night. Yep, it is. This is really pretty. It's kind of a chunky glitter, so I don't wear it particularly often, but it's a dark navy base with really sparkly, large silver flecks in it, and this is a color changing polish or a heat sensitive polish, so your nail beds or where the polish is warmest ends up looking like a very pale, sparkly periwinkle color, and then the tips of your nails or wherever your nail is coldest ends up being this really dark, almost navy color. So it's a really, really pretty gradient, and it's a really prominent gradient as well. This is another heat sensitive one. This is called Koi. I love this polish. It is the strongest heat sensitive polish I've ever seen in my entire life. It is red when it is cold, and it is a peach color when it is warm. The downside to this is that your nail beds will be peach and then the tips will be red, and if you wash your hands with warm water, it will look like your nails are bleeding because they'll be this like splattered, inconsistent reddish color. If I have any footage of that, I will include it here because it's kind of funny, but also terrifying the first time you use it. But it's a really nice performing polish. It's not as thick as the Starry Night one, and I really like it. This is a super chic lacquer, and this is in the color Dimwit. It is kind of a jelly orangish base with iridescent flaky glitters in it. I really like this. However, at one point I had a lot of their holographic polishes and I hated them. They chipped within a day on me. They were just awful, but didn't translate well to my nails and did not last on my nails. In general, I really don't like solid holographic polishes. That's why I don't have any. I have ones with holographic glitters in them, but the actual polishes that are advertised as being holographic just don't last on my nails. I don't find that they're dramatic enough looking unless you have them under very specific light circumstances. Now down here I have Miss Sparkle polishes, which is an Etsy store. This is what originally attracted me to their store, probably her store. It's called Hocus Pocus. It's part of their 2015 Halloween collection, and it is a glitter with a clear base, so you do have to use this over top of something. You can't build it up to be opaque on its own, but it has very large purple and orange glitters in it, and then it has silver moons in it. And I just think it's really cool. It looks really fun over a black base as well as over an orange base just to add glitter. The next ones are all part of a mermaid collection, and this one's called Deep Sea Mermaid. What I like about their polishes is that they're not afraid to use different shapes and sizes of glitter. So this has star-shaped glitters in it, it has large round pieces, it has tiny little micro glitters in it. It's just very sparkly and very pretty. And it's a jelly base, so it's not super opaque, but you can build it up to be opaque. The problem with this is that it stains my nails horribly, and that is the case for the other 2 I will show you as well. I will put this on my nails with a base coat underneath it, and 2 days later or 3 days later when I take it off, my nails will look this color. Like, it will look like I still have nail polish on. They're stained that badly. So I haven't been using these very often, but I do really like them. I just don't like that staining factor feature that they have. This one is called Pearl Scavenger, and you can see the variety of glitters in this one a little bit better. This has a green jelly base, and it's got orange and yellow circular glitters in it. I think this has little stars in it too, and it has hexagonal, teal, and aquish colored glitters in it as well. This one stained my nails so horribly, it looked like they were bleeding for weeks. But this is a red jelly base. This is the color Mermaid Princess, and it has lots of pretty pinkish glitters in it in a variety of sizes. This one is Coral Reef Mermaid, and this is the one I've worn the most because it stains my nails the least. It is a iridescent pinkish purplish base with all sorts of different sizes and colors of glitters in it. There's some red glitter, there's some blue, there's some aqua, there's some gold, there's some green, and I think it has little aquish colored stars in it too. So this is really pretty. I do actually wear this one quite often. It is similar to other polishes I have in my collection. Like this is Sparkle Motion that I showed you earlier, but it is still quite unique just because of the different sizes and dimensions of glitter inside of it. Then these guys are all Starly polishes. So I guess I'll start with the first one I bought, and this was my first indie polish. I got this for Christmas probably 4 years ago, and I was so excited about it. It is the color Galaxy by Starly, and it has galaxy-shaped glitters in it. So this has glittery moons, glittery circles, glittery stars. It's so pretty. You can't use this on its own. It does need a base coat underneath it. You just can't build it up to full opacity. And the glitters are so large that it's hard to distribute them evenly across the nails. So you do sometimes have to use a toothpick to place them, but it's worth it because the effect is so dramatic and wonderful. And this polish is still going strong and I still love it. And I think it's permanent in their collection, which makes me happy because if I ever run out or this goes to Goop, then I can repurchase it because it's awesome. This one has been in my collection for a long time too. I think this came out over Christmas a couple years ago. It is called Ho Ho H2O, and it is a royal blue with coordinating tiny micro glitters in it, but the glitters in this are just the perfect size that they still show up really prominently on the nails. So would recommend that, but unfortunately you can't get it anymore. This was purchased the same year. It's called Albert Elfstein, and it is a black with red and green iridescent flaky glitters in it and silver micro glitters, and it's a really interesting take on a black polish. Would definitely recommend. These two are newer additions to my collection, and they are kind of disappointing, and by newer I still mean like 2 years ago. This one is Vasopressin, and then this one is Serotonin, and the Serotonin one is just a red with micro glitters in it, and then this is like a violety dark purplish color with micro glitters in it. I hoped that these would be more sparkly like this one, and they just aren't, and they're very dark colors, so I don't think they're very flattering on my nails, and they stain my nails because they are so dark, so I just don't love these, but I do keep them in my collection because I don't have anything quite like them. This is what I'd hoped they would have been, and this is called Everest, and it's a really dark green, but has lighter colored micro glitters in it, so it still reads quite light and quite bright and vibrant on the nails. So I really like this one. It's a color that I tend to gravitate towards around the holidays. This might be my second favorite Starly polish after Galaxy. It's just so unique and sparkly. It's called Damsel, and this has larger holographic glitters in it and a periwinkle colored base. You can use this on its own. 2 coats completely covers the nails, and it looks like this on the nails. It just looks like pure glittery wonderfulness sparkles on the nails, and I love it. This one is called Bippity Boppity Blue, and like Galaxy, this is a glitter polish suspended in a clear base, so you cannot build it up to be opaque on its own. This is something that you put 1 or 2 coats over on top of a solid base coat, and you do sometimes have to use a toothpick to place the glitters, but it's worth it because it's got pink and blue hexagonal glitters, and it's got little glittery stars in it, and I say glittery, but these aren't reflective, they're more iridescent, so it's like a subtle glitter look, and I just love how it looks on the nails. This is one I've never actually used, and it's called Dark Energy, and this is a magnetic nail polish, so you're supposed to be able to paint it on your nails and then use a little magnet to create designs and create kind of a gradient effect in the nail polish. I tried this once, it just didn't seem to dry properly and it looked kind of messy on my nails, so I've been too afraid to try it again, but I really should at some point. Then back here I have polishes from Live Love Polish, and I have one Lone Essie polish. I purchased this because I thought it was like a pretty watermelon-y color and I've never used it. It is called Enough is Enough. This is another random polish. It is a bow polish in the color Coral Rova, something like that. It's a very pretty corally color, and then it's got flaky iridescent gold glitters in it. I like this, but I do find myself reaching for the Schiele polish more because they're very, very similar colors, but this one is easier to remove because the glitter particles are smaller. And then these are all Live Love polishes. So this was from their Shark Week collection. It is called Shark Spark. I don't know if you can tell how much I've used of this, but I really like this one. This is another heat sensitive polish, so it goes from a very light, almost almost whitish blue to the color you see in the bottle. This is called Sea Witch. This is kind of a thick goopy polish. I don't love the texture of it, but it's really cool. It's another color changing one. It goes from a very light periwinkle to this color, and it's got lots of different sizes and shades of glitter in there. This is called Midnight Mako, and I feel like I got this as a free polish or something. I think it is heat sensitive, and it goes from this color to like a palish blue, but I prefer the more aqua toned one or the Starry Night one that I showed you earlier, just because the glitter and the color is a little bit more interesting to me. This color is called Dance to the Moon, and this is one of the few metallic colors that I have in my collection. It's a very thin polish, but it applies very opaquely and nicely. It is a duochrome, so it looks almost violety, but then it has this strong blue shift. And I really should use this more because I think the color of it's really cool. I just kind of forget that I have it. And then these are all cream polishes. They have the best cream polish I've ever used. I do like the Revlon ones, but they're a little bit thinner and less vibrant, whereas these show up really strong just with a single coat. So I definitely purchase more of these. I kind of like putting my money into more unique nail polishes, but I will be the first to admit that these are fantastic. So I have this one called Moss, which is like an olivey mossy color. I have a Little Black Dress, which is the best black polish ever. I have Sherbert, which I've used quite a lot of, as you can see. This is like a bright chartreuse-ish lime green, like muted lime green. This is Moonscape, which is a very pale purple. And this is Cashmere, which has a little bit of shimmer in it, and this is my natural polish. So if I ever have something where I'm not allowed to wear nail polish, I wear this instead because my nails are quite yellow once the polish comes off. So that is my nail polish collection in all of its glory. I'd say I'm a bit ashamed, but I'm really not. Nail polish is something that makes me happy. It's very much a self-care thing for me. So when I'm feeling anxious or when things feel like they're out of control, I can always pick out a color and put it on my nails and look down at them and smile. And I think little brief bits of joy like that really matter, especially when it's kind of a rough time out there, you're dealing with depression or anything like that. It sometimes really is just the accumulative joy that little tiny things bring you is what keeps you going through the day. So I love nail polish. It's really, as I said, just something that makes me happy. I also find it quite easy to justify purchasing nail polish because it is something that you see, and it is something that makes me so happy. And I also know how much acrylic nails cost and gel manicures cost and the upkeep that is required for those, and it makes me feel a little bit better about the fact that I only purchase a few bottles of nail polish every month. I probably should have said this at the beginning too, but this is a nail polish collection built up over years. I did not go out and purchase these all in 1 week or 1 month or 1 year. I really do just purchase a few bottles a month and maybe a couple extras around my birthday or Christmas, and has eventually added up to this. So on that note, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're doing all right and that things get better in the world than they have been recently. And I will be back with a sewing related video for all of you very soon. So thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with this. If you did enjoy, giving this video a like and a comment really helps me out. And if you want to see content that isn't like this at all, then you should subscribe because I mostly don't make videos about my nail polish. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to all of you very soon.